everyone, and welcome to our Human-Centered Design Q&A webinar. Thank you so much for those of you who have come along to join in live. That is incredible. Great to have the energy here. For those of you who are listening in and who have signed up for the recording, thank you as well for showing interest in human-centered design. It will have a big impact on what you do as an instructional designer or a training designer or a learning developer. So who are we? I am Hannah and I work for the Bell Vista Studios team. We are a team of human-centered design practitioners. So we design e-learning and training solutions for our clients. And we also train other instructional designers in how they can use human-centered design to improve their process. So what's happening right now in this Q&A webinar is that we have had questions come in from those of you who have signed up for the webinar. So we're going to be going through and answering some of those questions. I'm also going to share with you what human-centered design is for those of you who are just starting to learn about it and wanting to know how it can work for them in their world. So we also, on Monday coming up, is our human-centered design cohort. So the human-centered design cohort is an 8-week experience, and it enables you to learn human-centered design, learn our human-centered design process, apply it to your projects. And so you can find out a little bit more about that cohort during this time as well. So we'll have a mixture of human-centered design in general and also about the cohort. So what's included in the cohort, for those of you who don't know, is you get our human-centered design playbook. So that includes activities that you can complete and a bit of theory around human-centered design. We've got our online course. So our online course takes you through our human-centered design process. There's role plays. You can see myself and other practitioners in the team actually play out how the human-centered design activities work. We've got group coaching. So you get to meet with other peers in the cohort and find out what they're doing in their projects. You can ask questions, you can run through what you have coming up next for your project or what you want to learn with your group. You also have individual coaching. So you get to meet with a practitioner from our team and ask questions. They can support you. You might have a meeting that's coming up or something that you need to prepare for. So you'll have that one-on-one support as well throughout the cohort. So before we get into the questions, I just want to let you all know that this is interactive. So if you have a question or you have something you would like to chat about, please just unmute and speak. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions for those of you who are here live. So, or you can type in the chat as well if you would prefer, but definitely interactive. This is all about you. So please speak up if there's anything that you would like to know. Before I get started, I guess I'll just check in to see anyone who's live. Is there anything that I can support you with before we get into the pre-collected questions? All good? Cool. All right, awesome. So the first question is, how does the cohort differ from the online course? So I'm just going to show you how that works. We've got our online course. The ultimate kit is the cohort, so they both include the playbook, the online course, the videos that are within the online course, case studies. The only difference is, so for the cohort, you get the personal coaching, so you get coaching included in your experience, and you also get the group coaching, and then you also get links to tools and resources that you can use to apply human-centered design to your projects. So the cohort is more of an immersive experience where you actually get to learn from your peers, learn from us in person, and be involved in sessions as you go through the online course. So that is the difference between the two. Right, so the next question is, someone asked, what if I don't have a project? So that's fine. It is, for the cohort, it is ideal if you have a project to bring along, because we can support you in the moment with whatever you might be working on, whether you have a meeting coming up or you need to come up with a project goal, and human-centered design can support you through that process. But if you don't have a project, that's fine. You can still learn a lot about human-centered design and start to prepare to use it when you do have a project. You also have individual coaching, so you can hold on to that individual coaching and use it when you're actually working on a project. So you can go through the rest of the course, learn about the theory, watch the role plays and see how it could work for you and your project. And then when you actually have a project, you can utilize that individual coaching to get one-on-one support if you need support to remember something, or you have something coming up and you need help in the moment. So completely all good if you don't have a project. Definitely still think the cohort is right for you. Okay, the next question is, so someone asked, I need to get better at the why. So why does the audience need to attend this training? I'd like to know more about empathetic design. How do I gather the information required to ensure I am creating empathetic design? What ways might I do this effectively? So this is a big one for human-centered design. It's definitely helped me to improve the way that I design my training. And by using the human-centered design tools, it's helped me to share the why with those learners that I'm designing for. So because human-centered design is all around putting the person that you're designing for at the heart of your solution. So finding out what's important to them, what challenges they have, what their world looks like, how the project goal relates to them and their life. Because human-centered design is all around that, and we're using the end user or the learner as a lever for change, so we really want to understand them. By completing those activities, you really do get to understand the why, because through speaking to them and finding out what their challenges are, what's important to them, you start to figure out, okay, so if this is what is important to them in their world, how does the project goal align to them, and how might meeting the project goal improve their life? So for example, if we did a health and safety course and it was for drugs and alcohol in the workplace. So rather than just starting off with, you need to do this course because it's policy that you aren't over the limit when you're working and we need to share this drug and alcohol policy with you. Instead of that, we really wanted to understand how following the policy would improve the workers' lives or the staff members' lives. And that came from what was important to them. So their friends, their family, their workmates, keeping their job were all things that were important to them. And we discovered that if they didn't meet the policy and they were over the limit, they could potentially hurt themselves or their workmates. If they hurt themselves, that would impact their family and friends, because potentially if they're not around anymore, particularly if they died, then how would that impact their family? How would that impact their friends? So we came from that angle and made sure that the why really, really tapped into what was important to them and their world. And so some of the ways that you can do this through human-centered design is the user interviews. So asking them what's important to them, asking them about the project goal and whether that is important to them in their world. You can create personas. So personas is creating a representation of your learner and having really clearly in one place what is important to them. A lot of the insights from the interviews can go into the personas. And another tip for that is, so we generally start our learning experiences with, do you want to? So we think of a problem or a desire that the learner would have from our human-centered design activities. And then we start with, do you want to, for example, do you want to keep your workmates safe? Do you want to come home from work the way that you went to work? And that's how we start our solution, with that really strong why, so that we can tap into their motivation and they're more likely to engage in the learning experience as it continues. So I think human-centered design, it's all about the why. So if you start learning about human-centered design, it really will help you tap into the why. Yeah, so that's the answer to that question. Reminder to jump in if anyone has any questions, would like to make any comments. Okay, so the next one is, someone would like some ideas around changing behaviour through corporate e-learning. So if possible, they're wanting some examples on how to incorporate that in a storyboard. So I think, so it mentions corporate e-learning, the question. I think that our process for changing behavior at a high level is the same no matter who your audience is. So human-centered design, it's the same activities, it's the same research that you're completing. It doesn't matter who your audience is. Human-centered design is all about finding out more about that audience and creating solutions that align to them. So just because they're corporate doesn't mean it's different activities that you would run. You would just find nuances and different things around them that where you could design in a way that speaks to them. So I guess all of the human-centered design activities will help you to change behavior, because that is our intent behind having them. I do think if you are starting to learn about human-centered design, or you want to start testing out some of the activities, to check out our human-centered design playlist on YouTube. I'm just going to post a link to that in the chat for anyone who would like to check it out. So that has all the activities that we run and conversations between practitioners within our team of how we use human-centered design to change behavior. So check that out. I think personally, one of the activities that really help change behavior from my perspective and help me with my storyboarding process is empathy mapping. So I don't know if anyone's heard of empathy mapping before. No, it's awesome. So what it is it's a map with 4 different quadrants, and it is all around collecting information that helps you understand what your learners would be doing, saying, hearing, and feeling when the project goal is met. So you have a project goal, you want to look into the future and think, okay, the project goal is met. How would I know that we've been successful and we've met it? What would our learners be doing, thinking, saying, and feeling for us to know that? And when you're collecting this data, we often collect this data with the learners, and we collect it with the SMEs, our clients, so everyone who's involved in the project. So we get all of those perspectives. And you want to be really specific around the information that you collect. So for example, in the what would they be saying, collect exact scripts. So ask the subject matter expert or the client, what exactly would they be saying if the project goal was met? So for example, if it's all around helping leaders hold better performance conversations, you would ask, what exactly would they say to raise a performance conversation with the staff member? What would be a script they would say? And then when you collect that data, you have all of the information that you need to give to the learner to help them change their behavior. So it's around getting the information from the people that know, or from the people that are in that environment, and understand how the project goal fits into the world of the learner. So I think that one is incredible, because you just get everything. You're not looking on Google or trying to find information on how to show them how to do something. It's just you get everything that you need, and then all you need to do is figure out what's the best way to present this to them. So if they need to do this in the real world, how can I treat this content? But you have all of the scripts and everything that you need. So it's really a good activity. Like, I would not skip that activity with my storyboarding, because it just makes my life a lot easier. So I'm just going to share the chat if you do want to find out more about empathy maps. Just lost my mouse. There it is. There is a video if you want to find out more about it. And if you type in empathy map on our Bell Vista Studios YouTube channel, there'll be other videos and short snippets around how you can use it as well. So check that out. Another thing I want to share as well. So for writing scenarios, I don't know if anyone here has heard of the CCAF model. That has been incredible for us. So if you're wanting support with writing scenarios that will help people change their behavior in your storyboard, check out the CCAF model. It's by Alan's Interactions. And that has been very helpful for us. Sometimes we even get our learners in a workshop to write the scenarios for us, because they're the ones that know what their world looks like and how it would play out. We just give them some sort of criteria, like if you were to do this thing, what would that look like in the real world? And the subject matter expert would support them with that as well. But we just give them the framework, and they actually write the scenarios for us. So it's makes your life a lot easier because you're not guessing, you're getting it from the people that actually know. So that is a good one.
Sorry, just to interrupt. Good morning, by the way.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for coming.
Good. So with that CCAF model, are you asking the potential learners or are you asking the SMEs to work on those scenarios?
It depends who we can get in the room, but we would get both. Like I would recommend having both if you could get them both in the room.
Right.
Because the SMEs have the knowledge of like what would need to happen to make it work. And then the learners would have the knowledge of like that doesn't make sense in our world, or like we wouldn't be able to do it that way. So I think a combination of the both is like the ultimate.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all good. Okay, so this is our last question. The last question is, so someone asked what things to include in your portfolio as a beginner. So for every question or decision that we make as human-centered designers, we always put our audience at the heart of the answer. So it's the same as with your portfolio. So if you're thinking about what you should include in your portfolio, you need to be thinking about who is my audience. So who do I want to attract and work for? Who is going to be looking at my portfolio and wanting to hire me for a job? Who is my ultimate client that I would like to work for? Once you're aware of that, you can use human-centered design activities. You could create a persona for that client and figure out, okay, so what sort of problems would my ideal client be solving? And once you are aware of that, you might even want to talk to some people in the industry if you know, like you could ask them, what sort of problems are you solving in your business? Or what's a common thing that like training projects that you're working on? And I think by applying human-centered design and truly understanding their world and what sort of problems they're solving, it will help you to create your portfolio because you'll know what's relevant to them and their world. So that's probably my top tip for it. But we have so much on YouTube. So if you have any questions, I would highly recommend just searching on YouTube as well, because we have videos on a lot of different things. But I'm going to post 2 links to how to create a portfolio on YouTube. So check that out. But that is the last pre-collected question that we have. Does anyone have any other questions that they would like to ask or anything they would like to discuss relevant to human-centered design? Happy to chat about it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Right now I'm working for an organization that the general e-learning is quite basic. It's a lot of text, images, some videos, kind of the old school e-learning, I guess.
Yeah.
How would you go about changing that conversation to more human-centered design, and what are kind of, without getting too fancy with bells and whistles, how could you implement that if you only have that to work with?
Yeah. Okay, so I think the first thing to consider would be what appetite the people in your organization have for human-centered design, because something that we do through our cohort and our online course is we talk about how you can convince your leaders or your managers or executives on using human-centered design. So human-centered design, it helps you solve the right problem. So you're not spending money or time, or employees aren't spending time looking at this e-learning, it's actually not making a difference if that's the case. So it's just coming up with what the benefits are of human-centered design and being able to communicate that to executives and ask their permission to be able to try something different. So helping them see how doing human-centered design will improve the e-learning that you have now. Because if it's not effective now, you could come from the angle of learners or staff members are spending time looking at this e-learning that's actually not changing their behaviour. So how many hours are learners spending on that and it's not getting the value that you need? So that's if you can get that appetite to try something new and revisit the course with a human-centered design approach, that is incredible. Otherwise, so for us, we started human-centered design a very long time ago, but not all of our clients were open to trying. So they were used to the traditional way of designing learning and they just wanted it how they'd always had it. So what we did, if we asked and they weren't open to doing it, we would just do little human-centered design activities in the background. We didn't have to spend a lot of time. For example, completing a persona and just considering your end user in that way. A persona takes us 15 minutes. Even if you're just thinking about and taking the opportunity to step in the learner's shoes and think, what would it be like to be them, and completing a 15-minute persona, we just do a little activity like that. The client may not even know. And then when the client started noticing that we were making improvements to their training, they were like, oh, wow, like, this is cool. Like, we're seeing like more people are engaged, we're getting more behavior change, whatever it may be. That's when we would tell them, yeah, we've been doing little human-centered design activities in the background. Once we built that trust, then we were able to do a whole human-centered design approach because they could see the value of it. So I don't know if potentially you could do little activities and make small adjustments to the training just to get started. And then the more trust you build and the more impact you have through that, you can expand it to a bigger human-centered design approach.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh, good. Does anyone else?
Question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, my question is not really exactly related to human-centered design, but I wanted to know the instructional designer who work as freelancers use Articulate 360. Do they purchase it annually or there's something else? Like, how do freelancers use it?
I think it would depend on their situation. I'm not 100% sure on the answer to that. I think it depends on, like, if you are fully all in to becoming a freelancer and you know that it's going to be something that you're going to do for a minimum at least a year, you do that yearly subscription. Otherwise, if it's just something, because I know you can get the trial, I think.
Yeah, but the trial is for a few months only, I think. It's for 1 month.
Yeah, so I guess if you need it beyond that trial and you do have like a paying client that you know will give you work for the next however long, it would be worth doing the yearly thing. For us, like because we are working, we need it for a yearly subscription, but I think it really does depend on your situation. So I can't give you an exact answer, sorry. But I think if you look in, I know lots of people ask questions in Facebook groups, instructional design Facebook groups. If you're connected to any of them, like there's the Idol Academy, where I see lots of people asking questions like that and sharing their experiences. So you may want to check out Facebook group for that. Does anyone else here have an answer to that by any chance that knows a little bit more?
I have my own license. I guess I see it as an investment in what I do. So it's $1,500, $1,700 if I can, make X amount of money from having that license, and it will benefit me to get more clients who potentially don't have that license themselves. Then it makes sense. So for me, it's a financial trade-off. I do think that there might be clients who would have a license, but I guess it depends. It depends, but for me, it makes sense to have one. And if you have shorter projects, then you could have the trial version. I believe it's 30 days. So yeah, I guess that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. That's awesome. Good perspective. I think as well, like just on that again, like we are I think when you're a freelancer, you have to be really careful to not get caught up in the bells and whistles of a lot of different products, because there's so many programs, whether it's like animation software, graphic design, images, where if you sign up to everything, it can end up using up a lot of your profit. So I think for something like Articulate Storyline, we use it daily, or like almost for most of our projects, whether it's we use Articulate Rise or Articulate 360 Storyline. So I think it's really thinking about how often am I going to be using this, and are my clients actually needing e-learning in that format? Because you wouldn't want to sign up for it and then the clients that you're working for are wanting to use another program. But for us personally, we love Articulate 360. Our clients use it. They're happy for us to use it. So it's really just thinking about whether it's going to be something that's going to add value to you and your clients.
Thank you.
All good. Any other questions? Anyone who's here live?
No questions for me.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm just going to post for anyone who's interested in the cohort. I'm just going to post a link to it. It closes on Monday. So you have until Monday to sign up if you'd like to join the October cohort. So it's very exciting. We're really looking forward to that. And yeah, it gives you the opportunity to work through a project that you have or prepare for a project that you have and learn human-centered design. So check it out. But I guess just before I go, thank you all of you for showing interest in human-centered design. It honestly has changed our world as instructional designers and made our jobs so much easier. The results that we get from it are incredible because you're actually designing for the people that are completing the training. So it really speaks to them. And when they get the training, you're designing something for them, taking into account their motivations, their challenges, their world. So it just really improves what you can deliver as a training experience. And we use it for every single project. So it's just exciting to be able to share it with others. And even if you just try little activities, if you're just starting out, it can make a big impact. Oh, we have a question in the chat. Cool. What would you say is the biggest thing to consider when using human-centered design? I think the biggest part of human-centered design is just thinking about your end user. So I think it's definitely a mindset that you adopt the more that you use it. And if you can think in every single decision that you make, whether it's what content to add into a storyboard, how to design a course, how to deliver the solution, if you can always be thinking about your end user, and if you've got a persona, thinking about how does this decision impact that end user, is that going to help them to meet the project goal, or is it going to deter them from meeting the project goal? Because if you make it hard for them to complete an experience or you don't tap into their motivations, it's very hard to change their behavior. But behavior change can be very easy if you design for them as a human being. So I think a great way to start and get into human-centered design is just to have that mindset of how is this going to impact my end user, and always thinking about that in every decision you make. So I would say that's the biggest thing. Thank you for your question. Oh, good. But yeah, if you want to start using human-centered design, just check out our human-centered design playlist, I think, on YouTube. I think that's the best place to start because you can start to experiment with some of the activities. I will share as well, there is a really great, I always like to share this because it's made a big impact on my life when I'm creating personas. So there's actually a persona tool. If you wanted to have a go, even after this session, because we may be finishing a little bit early, just have a go at creating a persona. I've just sent a persona generator. It's an online persona tool where you can go through and create a persona for your learner. So if you have a project going on at the moment, you may just want to fill out that persona tool and it'll help you to start thinking about them and putting them at the forefront of your decisions. So check that out if you'd like to. But otherwise, are there any final questions before we wrap up today? I think we've covered the pre-collected questions and the questions everyone's had live, but I'll give it a minute or two more just to see if there's anything else.
I have one last question.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're spending more time on a project as a whole using human-centered design?
No, is my answer to that. I think so, even though you do the activities and you find out what's important to them and you like have to spend time doing that part of it, by doing that, it's really shortened the time we spend on other parts of the instructional design process. So for example, the storyboarding stage is so much quicker than what it would be if we had all of this content and having to like look on Google and find out how are they going to do that. Whereas the storyboarding stage, because of the activities we conduct, is very, like, we have everything that we need. We have the scripts, we have like the exact sentences. All we're really doing is massaging the content that we've recorded from our learners or our subject matter experts, whether it's from workshops, user interviews, the persona tool, empathy map. And it just makes, like, you're just literally slotting in information during the storyboard stage rather than having to write it from scratch.
Okay.
So yeah, I personally think it has not added time to the way we do things. Like maybe when you start experimenting with it because you're learning, it might add a little bit more, but I truly think it makes your life a lot easier for your tasks.
Cool. Thank you.
All good. All right, well, we might wrap up. Thank you everyone who came live. Really, really appreciative to have people here. It's great to have like the energy of people live in the moment. So thank you so much for coming along. And if you're interested in the cohort, don't forget to check out the October cohort link that I posted in the chat. You will receive the recording for this, so you're welcome to listen back and take notes if you'd like to on anything that resonated with you. But thank you for learning with us. Thank you for considering human-centered design and giving it a go. It will honestly change your instructional design life. So thank you for showing interest in it. You'll thank yourself later. And I hope you all have a great day or night, wherever you may be.
What's up, awesome human? Thank you on behalf of myself and the Belvista Studios team for continuously choosing to learn with us. We really appreciate it. If the tips and the insights and the context resonate with you and you want to take your skills to the next level, or you want to make your life way easier, you will love our Creator Hub. The Creator Hub is a place for people like you and us. Basically, it's the stuff that we use internally at Belvista Studios, and then we just share it publicly with you. The Creator Hub is created by instructional designers for instructional designers, and what you'll love there at the moment is we've got a quiz, Could I Be a Better Instructional Designer?, that has so much tips in the feedback if you're interested in human-centered design or just taking your skills to the next level in terms of the solutions you're creating, the problems you want to solve. But in there as well, aren't we cute? That's us. But we've got the coaching courses, freebies, give us gratitude, and also we've got some templates. And basically they're always around the lens of learning experience design, instructional design, and e-learning. So a human-centered design focus is very much what we're about at Belvista Studios. So putting your learners at the heart of a solution and creating something for their needs. So there's the human-centered design stuff, and then we've also got the business stuff. So this is the stuff they don't teach you about when you want to become a freelancer or a consultant in the instructional design world. So go check it out. The link is in the description. You can check out everything that is available for you. Thank you for choosing to learn with us. Continuously invest in your skills. You will be rewarded as an instructional designer. Share this stuff, share it with other people, because when we are better instructional designers, we create better solutions that create better humans, that create a better world. So we have a very important role, and I'm excited to be on this journey with you. Have an awesome day.